homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, today it's time to get the fall garden in. I put my tiller on. Going to get started today. Today is it's August the 6th. When I plow this, most of the weeds won't come back up. It's that time of year where weeds are pretty well languishing, and I've kept them down for the most part in this part of the garden. You'll notice here what we're looking at. Over here is Roma tomatoes and weeds, and over on the other side is Roma tomatoes and weeds. So I've got about a 14-foot, 15-foot swath right here to put the fall garden in. Now on the other side of that, if you look, here's the corn, and here's a set of late Rutgers tomatoes right there. That's a set of late Rutgers. Now, and some weeds. I'm not too worried about weeds. It's the fall, we're in harvest mode, and getting out and worrying about weeds is a little beyond what I want to do. So, but I do want to create a space that's going to be pretty well weed free. Well, I've kept this plowed for the most part for the year. Same way with this side over here. I've kept it plowed for the most part for the year. I left it about 3 weeks and it got weeds about that tall, and I come through and mowed them down when I was mowing. Now I put the tiller on, and I'm gonna lay some tilling on this. Now fall is the perfect time of year to plant your sowed crops. All right, turnips, rutabagas, beets, carrots, kale. Okay, sowed plants, because the weeds aren't going to really come up good, and most of those plants taste better after a frost. Turnips are bitter to me before frost, but after a frost, turnips get that sweet flavor. Rutabagas, same way. Rutabagas, basically a yellow turnip, but rutabagas do better after a frost. Well, this is August the 6th. I'm going to plow today, and in the morning I'll put in the crops that I'm going to put in. I normally would plant cabbage and head lettuce, but the truth is, you saw our cabbage video. I've got more cabbage in the freezer than I know what to do with. So we were even giving away cabbage. So I won't be planting cabbage or lettuce this fall here. I will plant lettuce this fall, hopefully in our greenhouse if I can get it built. We're about to the point where the gardening's slowing down and I can concentrate on fencing so we can get our goats and pigs, and then a greenhouse. So let's talk about what we're going to do. The crops that I'm going to plant take about 80 to 90 days. Turnips take about 65 days. Rutabagas take about 80 days. Beets take about 65 days. Carrots about 75 days. So if we think about that, August the 6th, well, let's say the 7th, because I'm going to plant them tomorrow. So we got the 7th of August, September, October, November the 7th would be 90 days. Now, when I was young, our average frost date here in Zone 6, we're in Central Kentucky, Zone 6B, our average frost date was somewhere in the neighborhood of October the 5th. Well, that's all changed. Our average frost date now is November the 1st. And I guess that's pretty well right. Last year we had a frost on October the 21st. Year before that, we didn't get a frost until November the 15th. So, okay? So if my stuff goes to November, September, October, November, is 90 days to November the 5th, we could have 95 or whatever. But most of the things do better after a frost, so that I'm going to plant kale and things. So let's go ahead and get this plowed, and then tomorrow morning on this same video, the magic of video, I'll show you what we do for the next step. Okay, the ground's ready. It's just like a lettuce bed. In the morning, I'll go ahead and start planting, bring you along for the journey. See you in the morning, about daylight. Alright, it's the next morning. I told you daylight, but I couldn't do it. About 1 o'clock yesterday, I was out working on the Easy Go. The choke cable had come loose. And it's nothing hard. It's not complicated. It's not physically hard. But for some reason, my right shoulder and my shoulder blade is killing me all the way around to the front, all through under my arm and to the front. It's absolutely killing me. I didn't know I'd done anything. So I'm moving a little slow this morning. But it's time to plant the fall garden. Now, what am I going to plant? Well, if you know, today is August the 7th. So if we do August the 7th, we go September the 7th, October the 7th, November the 7th. Now, our average last frost date is November the 1st. I discussed that earlier yesterday. But that gives us 90 days to November the 7th. Well, November the 1st would be 80 days. What am I going to plant? Well, I'm going to plant purple top turnips. Those take, I believe, 70 days, 65 days. And then I'm going to plant American purple rutabagas. Those take 80 days. Well, spilled a bunch of something. I'm going to plant Detroit dark red beets. I'm going to plant Danvers half-long carrots. Now, it's going to be hot. If it'll turn off and cool down a little bit and do a little raining in the afternoon, the carrots will come up. But if it don't do that, chances are the carrots won't come up. But, you know, what am I going to be out? This is this year's carrots. I've already got a harvest from them. Okay? Or I'm going to harvest them in the next day or two, so Crystal can can them. So I'm not losing anything. I like to get fresh carrot seed every year. Now the beets are 58 days and the carrots are 75 days. And I'm going to also plant red Ace Beets. And these were packed for 2019, so I'm just going to use the whole pack here in 2020. Bought them cheap because they were packed for 2019. They're a year old. So bought them at the end of the season last year. So I'm going to plant these. They're a hybrid red Ace. I'm going to plant radishes. Okay, they're called Cherry Bell, and they mature in 22 days. So if these come up, I'll be harvesting in 22 days. But again, these were packed for 2019. I bought them cheap. And then also packed for 2019, I go buy in the fall and buy stuff like kale and beets and carrots, or not carrots, but kale and beets and stuff like that, because they mark it down half off. Okay, this would normally be $2.59 for this. I get it for like $1.25. So because it was $2.19. Now this is kale. It's ready in 45 days. But now I prefer kale to have a frost on it. I'll let it grow and let it frost on it. Okay, now how am I going to plant them? If you like to fish like I do, I've got all kinds of these old cricket cups with a lid. So I'm going to go back here. And scoop up just some super soft dirt. Now, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with the turnips. And I'm going to plant this whole pack. This is 2 scoops from our local retailer. There's what turnip seeds look like. Okay, they're just a little tiny seed. So I'll put the whole pack of seeds in there. Then put on the lid. Now, those turnip seeds are distributed all through that. So I'll just go down through here broadcasting them. Ow! I'll go down through here broadcasting them. It hurts to raise that arm up, so I'm not going to do that. So it's just simple. I'm just going to broadcast these over an area. And I mark with my foot where I was at. Next, I'm going to use the Detroit dark red beets. Now these were the beets I planted with my carrots. You saw that in another video. And then now these cherry bell radishes. Put those in there. Well, took the lid. That some more. Okay, they look distributed. Now, I sow them the same way. All of this stuff gets sowed the same way. So I'm going to sow these, and then I'll sow all the rest of them. You don't need to see all of them. But I marked down the field where I went with the turnips as I was walking. And what I tried to do is I picked a track right here down the center of this plowing. Now, not all of these will fit in this area. I'm going to do it so that they're spread out pretty good. So I'll wind up doing it here and on that side. And then I've got to go down to the lower garden. I'll show you some of that. Okay, in this part of the garden, I planted turnips, radishes, or beets, and then out there radishes. Then over in this part of the garden, I planted right in here, and I planted right in the middle. I didn't worry about getting close to the corn or close to the tomatoes in case I wind up having to plow by the corn or drive by it. I planted kale. And then out through there I planted carrots. Now, it's going to be hot, so I don't know if the carrots will come up or not. But they take 14 days to germinate no matter what you do. So, okay, so they might come up. They might take them a month to come up. But I've got 80 days. Carrots can take a mild frost, so they'll probably do okay for the first frost or two. And it just makes them sweeter. Okay, on to the hill garden. Okay, here we are at the hill garden. If you remember, I planted 6-week beans as our first fall crop. And I planted those, and won't be long before we'll be harvesting them. They've been in the ground about three and a half weeks. And you can see them down through there. This is them right here and right here. And then the 2 rows over, that's the sweet potatoes, there and there. So, I've got to get those going. Now, my Irish potatoes didn't do nothing this year. They got frostbit, and then I tried a second planting, and I don't know what the deal was. They just didn't come up any count. So, lost my seed potatoes, but that's all right. You can buy Kennebecs all over the place around here. But in a SHTF, that might be tough. So, all right, let's get to planting the other fall garden. Where am I going to put it? Well, right here was where the cole crops were. The cabbage and the cauliflower and the broccoli. So there's a space right here, right in here, about 16 feet wide. And that's where I'm going to plant rutabagas. And a rutabaga is a yellow turnip, basically. They're in the same genus, but they're yellow, and they tend to be a little sweeter than turnips. Crystal loves them. I can't tell much difference between them and the turnip, but Crystal loves the things, and I'm going to do what she likes. And I'm also going to plant these hybrid Ace Beets. They're good in 53 days, and I will mix them right in the same vat that I do the rutabagas, the rutabagas, because they take 80 days. So they will be getting ready about the time the first frost hits. These take 53 days. So I'll harvest these out of there, get them out of the rutabagas way, but they'll provide a little cover for each other and help keep the ground from sprouting any weeds and getting competition. So let's go ahead and get these in the ground. I love my tiller. That's what the dirt looks like after you till it. It's soft like a lettuce bed. If you ever get one of these little tractors, one of the best things you could ever do is get you a tiller to go with it. All right, let me get these in here. Okay, there's the beets. There's the beets, that's what they look like. Get in there. And rutabagas look like a turnip seed, okay? Because they're like a turnip. They just look like a turnip seed. They're just little bitty fellas, about like a cabbage seed or a broccoli seed. There's one pack of rutabagas in. And I don't know if there are varieties of rutabagas. This one's called American Purple Top. I bought them off of eBay. Might turn out that these are actually turnips. I don't know. Get in there. Now, once they're all in, now, what I'm going to do, I may need to cultivate by these beans again. So I'm going to put everything over toward the old coal crops. I'll be eventually coming through and running the bush hog over those. So, all right. Okay, all the coal crops are in. Again, we'll be harvesting those about frost, about November. The beans, I notice, are just now starting to bloom. So it'll be 3 or 4 weeks. They've got about 3 weeks on them. 3 more weeks, they'll start having the first beans. But in 5 weeks when I'll harvest them, because I want them to be loaded down with beans. And then I harvest them all by pulling them up. You'll see that when we get to it. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. If you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.